Hello and welcome to another episode of the Monday MOOcast. We've made it to episode 22 and they haven't kicked us off the internet yet, folks. I am Mike O'Mara and I'm here as always with
Greg Obert
and
Andrea Musolf.
And we're going to start as we do every single episode by talking about what we played this week. And hopefully this week was a little bit better for you guys. I know last week we were like Debbie Downers in here because we were like, what have we played? Oh, nothing. My job, my life. But this week was a little bit better for me. I finally got some good playtime with a new game with Medal of Honor Warfighter, which the critics are currently panning, but I don't really get because I found lots of fun with it. I think it's a nice alternative to Call of Duty and Battlefield. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. What have you been playing, Greg?
Well, I've been playing a lot less than Borderlands, actually.
Oh, really?
Well, really the only things I have left to do are get achievements and grind for orange guns.
Right.
So, and I've been trying to get one SMG in particular, and I just said screw it, because I want to play something fun. So
okay.
I actually went back through and played Banjo-Kazooie this week.
Really?
Because I love that game.
Wait, which version?
The Xbox Live.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Which is fantastic. If you haven't played that game, go play it immediately.
I think I played it, what was it, N64?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the last time I played it.
Oh my god.
It was the original.
It's so much fun. I wish there were just fun, colorful platformers like that nowadays.
Besides Rayman, you mean?
Besides Rayman, because Rayman fits that bill very well. And I also, I downloaded Bioshock 2 because it is $10 on Xbox.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's $10 for the week. So I figured, I might as well give it a shot. I haven't started it yet. But I also was with a friend yesterday, and he was playing The Walking Dead.
Oh.
And so I sat through 2 episodes because I just couldn't tear myself away from it. It was just...
The game is so
done.
good.
And aside from, I'd say, one puzzle in the first episode, which is it all makes sense, it goes well, it's not your classic adventure game of find these 2 random things and somehow they work together to get you to a solution. It is.
The game is so fantastic, and the first time I downloaded the first episode kind of on just a chance. I was just like, it wasn't that expensive, and I really, really, really love the comic book, and I really love the show, so I know I'm invested in the universe already, so I downloaded it kind of as a chance to see if I might like it, and it just quickly became, seriously a Game of the Year candidate to me. Just the writing is so good, the art style is so, original, it looks like a moving comic book. It's just incredible. It's just an incredible game. Andrea, you have to play this game.
I know, it's on my to-do list.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So what have you been playing, Andrea?
Skyrim. A lot of Skyrim.
Yeah, we see that on the video. We're watching the video portion right now. It looks like you're rolling with a crossbow now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I haven't, I'm ashamed to admit this, but since last week, I've yet to progress in Dawnguard. I've just been distracted with other quests. This one here, I'm actually doing the Elder Knowledge quest. It's one of the main storylines to get the search for the Elder Scroll.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm kind of mad at Skyrim this week. A little
You're mad?
Yeah, because, okay, so my sidekick, Goldir, who I call Gwildor, wearing a chest hat, he's been my follower for pretty much the entire game. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to marry him. I was all excited because I finally found that necklace that apparently you need to get married, which is kind of stupid.
The Amulet of Mara.
That's the one. Okay, so I got it. I'm like, great. Okay, I'm going to marry Gwildor. No.
He shoot you down? Is he back for the other team?
That's a yes.
Okay, well...
Is his Dragon Lord in another castle?
Anyway, okay, so I was waiting for the prompt. Oh my god. I was waiting for the prompt because I guess there's something you say oh, you're interested in me, are you?
Yeah.
Blah, blah. Okay, so nothing appeared. There was no option.
Did he stand you up?
I thought it was because I downloaded the Hearthfire DLC and I've been actually working on building my house this week.
Right. So
I made him my steward so he would go get logs and supplies for the house for me.
Oh
and I
God.
thought, maybe that's why I can't marry him because
he's your steward?
Yeah, he's like my little personal slave. And,
well, that's what a husband is.
Yeah. Okay, so I was upset. I'm like, oh no, what have I done? Because obviously I saved it several times. I'm like, no, I wanted to marry Gwildor.
This is very sad.
So I went online and I did some research, and according to my findings, Gwildor you can't marry him.
He's one of the unmarriables?
Yeah.
Unmarriables.
Yeah.
Unmentionables.
Which doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why? I feel like
you spent all this time, hours and hours, building this love and trust with Gwildor.
I know, and nothing.
Not meant to be.
No, I guess not. So I was kind of bummed about that because that was my plan all along. I'm like, oh, sure, just marry Gwildor.
So now, are you going to have are you going to just have a fantasy role play in your head where you're married to Gwildor, or are you going to have a domestic partnership with Gwildor? Or are you going to let Gwildor go at some point and find the man for you?
No, I'm going to find myself a new Skyrim dude.
This is sad.
I know.
What happens to... This is what always bothers me about games like that. I just can't leave people alone. I tell them to go home and then I literally cry about it. I'm like, no. And they're like, okay, I'll be back at the village if you ever care again. And it's it's so sad to me. So what happens to Gwildor?
Oh, no, he's always going to be at the house that I'm currently building, because he's my steward. So.
Oh, my God, you're going to have, two men. You're going to have a husband and then a Gwildor on the side.
Yep, that's my master plan all along. No,
wow.
but all in all, I was really bummed, because that was my plan. I was going to marry Gwildor, and you can't even do that. So I'm like, seriously?
It's very sad. Well, sometimes it's just not meant to be.
And then I'm talking to all these random people. I had a few chicks hit on me, no. And then I talked to the blacksmith in Riften.
Yeah.
Balamund or something like that. I nicknamed him Valley Total Fitness. Actually my brother came up with that one. I thought it was funny.
It's a good one.
But we've come up with nicknames of a bunch of characters that can't remember the names of.
So you're going to marry Belly Total Fitness now?
No, I was just saying that I was surprised. It's I feel like everyone else in the game is because I'm wearing that necklace still.
Right.
Everyone except Gwildor.
It's all, that's an allegory for life, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Art imitates life.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your marital troubles, but I'm glad that your gaming is going well, though.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's good.
So, I think it was you, Andrea, you unearthed an article about Assassin's Creed 3, which we all know is coming out in just a couple of days.
Tommy sent it to me, a friend of MOOcast.
Shout out to Tommy.
And I thought it was interesting because I haven't, for the most part, I haven't played any of the Assassin's Creed games. I played very little of the first one. I liked it. I couldn't really get into it. I thought it was too repetitive.
Sure.
I don't know, again, I'm sure the same argument can be used for any video game. But it didn't really capture my full attention.
Okay.
So I was reading through this article because it seemed like everyone loves Assassin's Creed. You guys like it.
I wouldn't say I love it.
Yeah, but
I love it.
Okay.
So, I read about there's a new multiplayer mode. It seems like this guy, or was his name Alex Rubens? Yeah. Who wrote the article.
Yeah.
He seems to be in agreement with the title that you could start with Assassin's Creed 3, and because they give you a little summary of the story.
Okay.
So I don't know, might be something I'm interested in. So I wanted to ask you guys, because you have played all the games.
Yeah.
What your thoughts are with that? Do you think it would? Obviously you haven't played the third one yet because it comes out on Tuesday.
Right.
But do you think it would be possible?
I'm going to tell you that I am personally not planning on playing the third one. And the reason for me that I don't think I'll buy it is I just got worn out. It's kind of the same kind of thing that you said, that it's really repetitive. I really like the strides they made in 2. I really liked 1. I really liked 2. Revelations is a mess.
Greg agrees.
I think that in the current ones they've spent too much effort on trying to make multiplayer happen, and I don't think it should in that game series. And I also don't like what they kind of did. They did these tower defense type things in the last one, and it's a waste of time and makes the game really boring, and it does make it repetitive. What I really like about it is I really like the storyline. I really like the idea. I really like the being a stealthy kind of assassin thing is really cool. And I think that it probably will translate really well to the American Revolution. That's pretty cool. And I'm glad to see a game actually explore that period in history, because we haven't really had any.
Not really.
So that's cool. So I wish it all the best. I just don't think I'm going to get sucked in again. What do you think about it, Greg?
I mean, I tend to agree with a lot of the points that were already made. Assassin's Creed 1, which, I loaned Andrea, and she, as she said, it was repetitive, and it is.
It is, yeah.
That was one of the big complaints about it. But if you push through, I mean, if you're in the right mood to play it, I enjoyed it. 2, I think, just like you said, Mike, the strides that were made, just so much more variety.
Yeah.
Way better gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, a Renaissance time
period. Yeah, so cool, yeah.
It's just very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I genuinely like the sword play, like all the counters and stuff.
Yeah.
I had a fun time with that.
It gets a little repetitive for me, but, it works.
It was better than 1.
Oh, yeah. Definitely better than 1.
Yeah.
And I mean, the ending of 2 just floored me.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, it's really, it's really cool. The story's cool. Yeah.
And I liked Brotherhood a lot. I thought it was a really
Brotherhood was okay.
Really good epilogue to 2.
Right.
But that's when Ubisoft was like, let's make it a yearly thing now. And it's like, okay. And then Revelations came out, and as you said, it was a mess.
It's a mess.
The story wasn't that engaging.
Right.
It had nothing to do with Ezio.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't know. So, I'm going to play 3. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to borrow it from a friend once he's done with it.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, Andrea, I don't think you should really jump in at 3. I think there's a lot of nuances that get brushed over. Like, each game does a good job of summarizing like the big points of what happened.
Sure, yeah.
But you don't get everything.
From everything prior, right? But you don't get everything. So I would recommend if you can slog through 1.
Okay. I'll have to pick that up again.
Because 2 and Brotherhood are great. You don't need to play Revelations.
It's a waste of time.
Avoid it at all costs.
Okay, good to know.
But
all it reveals is that Assassin's Creed can get boring.
It reveals...
That's the revelation.
It reveals that both Ezio and Altair eventually died at some point.
Which you already know because there's hundreds and hundreds of years.
Wow. Yeah. Well, guys, you've totally ruined the game for me.
Yeah. People do die, There's no Santa Claus either. Sorry about that.
Oh.
Yeah, spoiler.
Oh, this is totally unrelated, but it reminds me of this. I think it is so disgusting that I'm seeing all of these Christmas commercials and Christmas displays. It's not even Halloween.
It's true.
I hate this holiday.
It's true.
It never ends. Oh my god. Okay.
It's true.
Commercialism.
Yeah.
I know.
So we had a funny discussion kind of before we started recording today, and maybe in the future we'll do some outtakes because I think we all agree that some of the funniest stuff that we say is actually before we start recording. But we were having a little discussion before, and we'd like to continue it for a couple minutes now about trying to explain either the importance or the excitement of video games to someone who doesn't play video games at all, and how silly that can turn out to be, especially because we're all adults now. So like, it's one thing when you were a kid and you're talking to other kids about the stuff that is fun. It's like kids are much more open to like understanding the concept of fun, like for fun's sake. Like it's you're imagining, you're this. Like kids get that, but adults are like so rigid in their entertainment, And I find I guess I'll give myself like. I'll take first little tiny anecdote here and then turn it over to you guys. But for me, I feel like especially with like kind of like tough guy males, it's really hard for me to explain like why I like a video game like Skyrim, for instance, where it's like I am role playing something else. Like men don't get that. Like they get sports and like they get like things that are very definite, but they don't. And not now I'm making the generalization. It's not obviously I am a guy, like I get it, and a lot of guys do. But like some guys that don't play games at all, I find I have the silliest conversations with because they're like, "Well, why would you want to do that?" And I'm like, "Well, because it's fun." They're like, "Well, why would you want to do that?" I'm like, "Well, because it's fun. Like it's just because it's fun to be something else. It's fun to pretend sometimes, And they don't get that. Like they'll get sports games, they'll get shooting games. Because it's like very, very like definite and direct. Like you are going to go kill someone else. That's like a male thing to do. But they will not get RPGs. They will not get like other kind of puzzle or adventure games. So I find that pretty funny.
I find it's interesting to explain games to girls. Actually,
really,
I have the opposite because sadly most of their experiences are very much my boyfriend at the time, or my current boyfriend wanted me to play Halo or Call of Duty. Right.
And
it's like, you don't start somebody at Halo or Call of Duty.
Yeah, they're not going to get it.
I get furious when I play Call of Duty. I can't imagine what someone who has no clue what she's doing, or he's doing, is going to feel like. So I know I try to explain it and be like, hey, so why don't you try this game? It's a little easier.
Right.
Maybe it has a really good story. Like,
right.
I know I like to explain BioShock a lot to them.
Sure.
It's all about what's that philosopher's name?
Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ayn Rand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe, I don't know. It's just like they're so turned off by that first experience of some hardcore shooter.
And it can be very daunting, yeah. That's for sure. I'm very fortunate that I kind of infected my wife with the love of video games. Like, she did not like them or just didn't care when we started dating. But, like, obviously I played so many of them. Like, eventually she had to, like, watch and she had to, like, get it. And she ended up really liking games that I didn't think she would. So, like, the games that my wife will play are, like, Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto, open world games where she can just do whatever she wants, and she loves, like, just being the evil person who kills everyone, like, with wanton abandon. She loves Skyrim. She loved Oblivion. She played that game for 100 more hours than I did. So that's pretty cool to me to see what games do click with people that otherwise wouldn't play. But it can be really daunting. I certainly wouldn't give a fast-paced shooter to someone who doesn't play games, because that is a recipe for frustration.
Well, I thought of this topic because of a real life experience not too long ago. I don't even remember how it came up in conversation, but I tried explaining Slender Man to my mother. Oh boy, was this entertaining! I don't know how
that is awesome.
I guess just very briefly, if you don't know what it is, the game is really simple. You get a flashlight and you're in this forest, and you have to collect pages of a manuscript or something, and there are 8 of them. And each time you have to collect all the pages. Okay. And this whole time,
the only problem is
out in the forest. And if your screen gets all staticky, then you know he's really close to you. So you have to get out of there.
Yes.
And I mean, the controls are very basic. Now, my Slender Man experience gameplay, I think, totals about 20 minutes. So I found one page.
It was hilarious.
It was awesome.
It was so scary. But anyway, okay, so I'm trying to explain this to my mom, and I'm pretty sure she thinks I'm insane now, because, I went through the whole thing, like, what we talked about before is that the game is so basic itself,
right.
But the thrill of it is this fear that Slender Man is going to get you.
Right.
So, yeah, needless to say, it was entertaining, but my mom was just like not
having it.
No. It was really funny.
Now, this is interesting. What does your mom do for fun? I wonder.
Oh, she loves to read.
She reads?
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to try to, I mean, obviously everyone in the world reads, but like to try to describe why would you read for fun for a long period of time to someone else, Mm-hmm. Like, how would she describe it? Well, it's like I sit in one place for an hour or 2 or 3 and I read about people that don't really exist, and I imagine what that situation is like. Now, isn't that just like what we do?
Yeah, I suppose it is.
So it's funny to me that, like, certain things are really just accepted because they've been around forever, and certain things are still newer, so they're not. So I would postulate that 150 years from now, when games have been around for 175 years, 180 years, that'll just be normal. Like, everyone for generations will have just grown up with literature, but also with interactive gaming. It's just the same thing, right?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting idea. I am not well versed in Korean culture at all, but I hear often that it's not a matter, like, the question that is asked when you meet someone new in South Korea, at least, is not, do you play video games?
Yeah, it's
what do you play?
Yeah.
Because if you don't play, then that's
odd.
weird.
That's weird, yeah.
So, and I think, well, even, I forget which university just has a Skyrim class now.
It's so awesome. I want to take that class online.
I know.
There's a Skyrim
class. It's awesome.
I wish I could remember the university.
I think it's Colorado. It's Colorado, California. It's one of the ones with a C, I think.
Something.
Yeah.
But they just started this, I think this upcoming semester, there's going to be a Skyrim class where you explore ancient Nord mythology.
It's so cool.
through Skyrim.
It's such a good idea.
I mean, even before that, there was, I think it was University of Florida. The Portal class.
Yeah. That's how you explore physics and puzzles. Yeah.
Portal.
It's genius.
Man, sign me up.
Yeah. It's absolute genius.
I think it's not a matter of if this is going to get more accepted, it's just when.
Right.
So I think
hopefully
we won't be having that discussion of like it's weird to try and explain that to someone who doesn't play games. Hopefully that'll be a thing of the past soon.
Yeah. No, I just find it's interesting. Like there's so many corollaries between what you get out of video games and what you get from sitting and listening to music, or what you get from sitting and reading a good book. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, why do humans care about any of this at all? It's like universal. Like everyone likes to imagine, everyone likes to explore, everyone likes to solve puzzles. It's just we do it in a different way, and it looks cooler because it's on Xbox. That's about it. So it's an interesting discussion. And just to remind all of you that may be listening, if you have thoughts on this discussion, please leave comments on our YouTube page, because we certainly love to read them, or Twitter, or our page, or anywhere.
Anywhere you can find us.
Yeah, right. So this week, Greg, I know that you and I talked about this a little bit before the show. Minecraft has overtaken Call of Duty as far as players. Is that true?
Minecraft has overtaken Call of Duty on Xbox Live's activity chart. This comes from Game Informer.
Good Lord.
Earlier in the month, it was talked about that Minecraft, just on Xbox, has sold over 4 million copies.
Good
since
Lord.
May. And it's the top 5 titles. Well, I'll read the top 5
go
titles for Xbox Live. This was reported...
It's like last week's?
The week of October 15th.
Yeah,
was this list. Minecraft, Modern Warfare 3, EA Sports, FIFA Soccer 13.
I don't get that
FIFA.
one.
Oh, gross.
4 was Black Ops. 5
Still.
Borderlands 2.
Still.
6 is Halo Reach. 7 is Battlefield 3. 8 is Modern Warfare 2.
Good God, Call of Duty.
9 is Madden NFL 13, and 10 is NBA 2K13. Although you will be happy to know, Mike, that 11 was Happy Wars.
Happy Wars is awesome.
I need to play that.
Have you guys played it yet?
No,
it's totally free. It's totally free.
I need to check it out. But I find it very, very interesting that Minecraft took over Call of Duty. I mean, because you have to think.
That's a lot of people.
At least since Modern Warfare 2, if not before that.
Yeah.
Call of Duty has
been number one.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder if people are just getting frustrated with being frustrated. Because every time, I whined about it last week, and I'll whine about it again this week.
Right.
Every time I try to get gameplay or play on my own, it is one of the most frustrating experiences of all time.
Are you talking specifically Modern Warfare 3 right now, or are you talking the series?
I think just the series in general.
Right, okay.
While I love Black Ops more,
I do not.
I still get frustrated with Black Ops. Like, it's certainly not a perfect game.
Yeah.
But when you play Minecraft, it's not like, oh, hey, it's time to get frustrated. It's, oh, hey, let's relax, let's explore this world. And yes, it is frustrating when a creature just blows up right behind you and you lose everything. But, I mean, you have an option to turn that off if you want.
It's true, yeah, you can totally play it just for fun.
With the new update, you have creative mode, so you can just build things.
Ooh, I didn't even download that yet. I haven't played in so long.
Yeah, so they added, like, the hunger meter.
That's cool.
So I don't know if you like that.
Yeah, I do.
Now, wait, I'm curious about one thing. When did Minecraft come out? Is it a couple months
Summer,
old?
right? Or early summer?
Minecraft has been around for...
No, but the Xbox version.
The Xbox version, or like Minecraft in general?
Let's go with the Xbox version.
Came out in May.
Yeah, early summer,
It makes me wonder, because, like, Modern Warfare 3 is the most recent Call of Duty, and that's been out for just about a year now. So, I don't know if that has something to do with it. It's like people have played that for a while, and then Minecraft comes out, so it's like it's the new thing to play. I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
Well, it's so different. Like, what
that's true.
What really gets me, and I think it's actually very good that this is the case, but I mean, it's such a different kind of gameplay experience, and I think that the industry, which only sees dollars and cents, has been so like single-mindedly about military action first-person shooters, because that's what's making $1 billion every year.
Sure, yeah.
So to see something like this, which is you could not be any more opposite. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have it has chunky graphics. Like, it's not like it's photorealistic. It's obviously not overtly violent. It's cutesy violent, if anything. It's 98% about creation, not about destruction.
Right.
To see that have more activity than the current hotness in video games, which is first person blow everyone away, blood, gore, excitementville. That's pretty cool. I think that speaks highly of gamers in general and of the state of things. I'm glad to see that. I'm surprised to see that, I have to say. I'm glad to see it, though.
I'm happy to see it because, I mean, while I love military shooters every once in a while, I'm sick of this climate of, like, you need to make Call of Duty copycat.
Yeah.
So that you can make billions of dollars.
Right.
And I'm sure it would be nice to return to just different games.
Something different.
Styles
Yeah.
of games.
Yeah. I mean, even within shooters themselves, and if I can go on a tiny bit of a tangent, because I really do like the new Medal of Honor here, even within those shooters, it seems like there's such a backlash against anything that is different. Like, anything. Like I said at the beginning of our podcast, I'm having a really good time with the new Medal of Honor, but I looked online to see like what the reviewers and people are saying, and they hate it. They hate it so much, and their reasons for hating it boils down to it doesn't play exactly like Call of Duty.
Oh my god.
The maps aren't exactly like Call of Duty. The guns aren't the same guns that are in Call of Duty.
It's a different
The way that you attack,
people.
the way that you get attachments and the way you get new stuff is different than Call of Duty, and people are mad. Like, they're mad that it's not exactly the same.
See, that frustrates me because it's like, well, then play Call of Duty.
Well, right, which is what everyone does.
Well, yeah.
And I mean that argument, that like mentality is always going to be there. Like even before Call of Duty, it's not like Halo.
Yeah.
So I mean, unfortunately, that's just going to be there. But you know, I don't know.
It's the sad truth.
It's a sad truth, but still, I'm just still sick of military shooters all over the place. So
yeah. I wonder what the next thing will be, you know? Like, it's like Call of Duty, like, well, first Halo, I guess, on console, and then Call of Duty came and, like, just blew up this huge bomb, and now everything is that type of game. Like, I wonder what the next type of game will be, you know?
Hopefully something not as gray and brown.
Right? Like, all of our TVs can show lots of colors now, people. Let's do that.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, Greg, you found an interesting article, and I think possibly inflammatory to some of us around this table. This company that I cannot pronounce their name right, Gogogic, Gogogic. That's like too many G's.
Yeah, it's a lot of G's. Yeah, so I have a few articles this week, but this one I'd say is probably, as you said, the most just ridiculous.
Okay.
So the CEO of social gaming company Gogogic, I don't know. His name's Jon. I'm going to pronounce it. He's from Iceland. Jonan Antonsson.
Sure, I know Jonan.
I'm sure I butchered that.
Yeah, Dog. That's what I call him.
This is coming from The Escapist, but he talked about how single-player games are gimmicky.
Ridiculous.
So I'll just read this quote in its entirety, and you can draw from it what you will.
Okay.
But the single-player mechanic is a gimmick. Games are meant to be played with others, and it doesn't matter if it's in person or online. The first games were designed as multiplayer experiences, but when computer and console games became a thing, there was a need to construct an antagonist and/or a protagonist for commercial reasons. You couldn't depend on people coming together to have a synchronous experience over a game. That would have simply stifled sales, and since there was no reasonable way to connect people in other ways, the arcade was the only serious attempt. It became an industry need to project the game as the other player. Playing a game is a multiplayer activity and can easily be seen as such when you watch young toddlers play by themselves. They invent someone to play with, someone that they talk to and interact with. And so the author of the article goes on to say that he understands the point of people playing with others, but as he says, you don't read multiplayer books after all, and listening to music or watching television isn't an inherently social activity. Apparently this guy, kind of backpedaled a little bit, and he said, well, even if you have something as simple as a high score list, that makes a game social. But he then restated his belief that single-player experiences are becoming largely irrelevant to anyone outside of very niche audience.
Andrea?
The fact that he says that games should be only multiplayer, I disagree. Of course, I've been playing Skyrim, and I mean that's
right.
a solo game,
right.
and I'm having a ton of fun with it.
Sure.
Also, let's see. Oh, Red Dead Redemption. I love the single player. Like, that's what I got from the game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, sure, the multiplayer's fun, yeah, but
right.
I mean, that was the whole point of the game for me, was to go through the story.
Right.
Sounds like Assassin's Creed.
Right.
Play it by yourself. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think it's important to have both. I certainly love playing with friends online or in person and working together for co-op stuff.
Sure.
But, you know, sometimes I just want to explore with my buddy Wildor here.
Wildor.
Yeah. So I personally like having both. I like to have the multiplayer option, and I certainly like to have the single player option where I can just play by myself.
I mean, I would say that whole genres of gaming are only, or should be, I would argue, only, if not mostly, single player affairs. Like, I don't want my adventure games to be multiplayer games. Like, I want to enjoy that story by myself. Like, I wouldn't, the great Walking Dead series that Greg and I were talking about earlier, like, that wouldn't work, like, as a multiplayer thing. Like, you need to feel the importance of your actions and decisions in that universe, you know?
Just to play devil's advocate, at the end of each episode, though, they show you
what other people did. That's really interesting.
So in this guy's opinion,
that's still multiplayer.
I would venture to think that you would say that as a multiplayer.
Okay, well, I mean, I can hear you and him on that, and I would say my answer or my thought on this is kind of like a dual one. On one hand, I think it's just the way that our society has gone and the way that it is and will be now, because we're so interconnected through, everyone in the world has a smartphone that's always online everywhere. Like, when you're not on your phone, you're on your computer. When you're not on your computer, you're online. Everyone's connected all the time. I think that we are habitually socialized like now. We're always somehow connected to the whole world. So I think that's just the way it's going to go, and I'm not saying that's good or bad necessarily, it's just the way it is, it's what we're used to. So I think that, for me, I would be a little bit shocked if games suddenly went back to, like, I'm not connected to my friends all the time, even when I'm playing Skyrim, because, like, even when you're playing Skyrim, you can be in a party. Like, you're still talking to people, you're just doing your own thing, you know what I mean? So I think that that's the way it's going to be, whether it's good or bad, that's the way it's going to be. But as far as pure gameplay is concerned, I think it's ridiculous to say that a single-player experience is a niche. Like, I don't think that's true at all. I think there are certain game types and certain genres that you want to be mainly multiplayer, because of the competitive aspect, like shooters. Or sports games is really cool when they're multiplayer, because you can play against your friends who like the same sport. That's fine. It's like competition. But adventure games and RPGs, they should always be single player to me. And in fact, they get ruined in my opinion, when they try to do multiplayer when it doesn't work. Like, Assassin's Creed is a perfect example. Like, one of the reasons I got ticked off with that series is, like, I was like, why do you have this huge multiplayer mode you took away from other missions you could have given me?
Yeah. And
I played the multiplayer for a grand total of like 5 minutes. And I was like, this sucks. Like, it doesn't control. It's not the type of game, you know?
It kind of reminds me, I know there's a new Hitman game coming out next month, and I'm kind of on the fence whether or not I'm going to get it.
Right.
Maybe not right away, but eventually. It's like putting multiplayer in a game like Hitman. Really?
Did they?
I hope not.
No, they couldn't have.
No.
That's ridiculous.
But I mean, if they did, or they're going to, I think that's stupid.
That's dumb. Yeah. No, that's dumb.
Sense.
How can everyone in the world be a super assassin? Like, that ruins the whole mythos of the game. Like, ugh.
Now, to be fair to this guy, he's a little biased. So you checked out Go Gogic.
He's also Icelandic.
Yes, he is.
So what does he know besides sleds and hot chocolate?
Snow.
You want to keep going?
Nope.
All right.
I'm going to stop right there in case anyone from Iceland doesn't listen.
Okay. So he and his company have made social games, casual games for browser-based games on iOS.
Right.
So games like Vikings of Thule.
Oh my god, it's my favorite game ever. Vikings of Thule.
Xmas Go-Go Game Rupture. Soft Freak Fiesta.
Yeah, I bet he made a lot of money out of that one.
Cake Pop Party.
I'm not even going to go anywhere with that.
So, I mean, obviously this guy's a little biased, but
right.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's an interesting point about things, games being multiplayer and people wanting to socialize, but I don't know. I think even single-player games that don't have online capabilities, they already have that stuff pre-programmed in because it's a water cooler moment.
Right.
You can go to work and talk about what happened.
Absolutely.
So, I think every game has always had that.
Yes, gaming is a social event in that it can be a passive social event. Like, you can play it, and then you go and you see your friends the next time, and you talk about how awesome. Like, did you get to that point yet? It's the same way with, like, watching sports teams or anything.
Humans are social.
Right. Yeah, that's not...
So, for him to be like, single-player games aren't social, but they are.
Yeah.
I just thought of it, it's become such a habit, or, like, it's something I don't even notice anymore. Like, if you're going to play a single-player game, like, you sign online, Xbox Live or whatever. Yeah. And, you could talk with people.
Right.
And I think it feels strange, especially now, if on the rare occasion I decide to play my PS2.
Right, and then it's like you're, like, isolated.
Yeah. And I never really noticed that before until I got the Xbox. It's like going backwards. Yeah. I mean, it's strange. It's like somehow because I'm not online, I feel really disconnected from everyone else. But I mean, at the same time, you can still talk about those games.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as, like, going to, like, a big new movie comes out, and you go and you see the movie, and, of course, like, unless you're a jerkus, like, you're not talking during the movie, like, you're silent, and you're watching the movie, and you're having your own experience with it, but then after the movie, if your friends have seen the movie, you're going to talk about the big movie, like, oh my god, did you see this? What do you think about that moment? Like, so it's a social event, even though you experience it in a singular mindset, so... I don't know. I think he just made a little bit of a dumb statement. Maybe something didn't come through in translation or something. Or he was too busy, like, trying to promote Vikings of Thule to Electric Boogaloo.
One of the pictures, he was drinking something.
And he was super drunk. Yeah,
so. There you go.
As we know about Icelandic, never mind.
We're going to be called racist.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to go there. I don't mean Iceland. I love Iceland. I've got an Icelandic flag in my den. No, I don't. I have a Star Wars poster in my den. That one's true. Greg, Super Mario 64.
Super Mario 64 via pretty much any news outlet ever for video games. So there was a modder who changed around Super Mario 64, and so now you can play with 2 players.
How?
Speaking of co-op, I don't know, but you can play very carefully.
Slowly.
But now you can have a model of the regular Mario, and then you have another version of him that's like has black overalls.
Why didn't they make it Luigi?
Because they would have had to make a new character and all that.
Just make him green like the first Mario. Come on, modders.
You can change the color of his outfit?
No.
Oh.
It's just set.
The modder did.
Yeah.
But so, how do you play this modded version?
You have to download the ROM, and then you can install the mod. So you need an N64.
That is jailbroken.
Emulator.
Okay.
You need an emulator.
Okay.
And then you can play it on your computer.
That's cool.
But I just find it so interesting that, companies who've made like these amazing games that we just remember for years and years and years have to stop like providing updates to them. And obviously you can't support a game that was never online to begin with.
Right.
A system that's
how old? Very old.
But I mean, you do have things like HD remakes.
So your argument would be like they should have done that themselves?
I mean, it would have been an interesting concept. I mean, even think about what Nintendo did with New Super Mario Brothers, and was it last year they came out with the 25th anniversary collection?
Yeah.
Which was nothing but Mario All Stars.
Yeah.
Like, why not put some money into that and maybe make it a full?
Right.
But can you imagine Super Mario 3?
That would be cool. That would be cool. That would be cool. I wonder how that would affect the gameplay in Mario 64. Because the camera was so much a part of it.
Yeah, I really don't. But
interesting.
I just think it's cool that someone took the time to do that. And I hope companies learn from that and continue to provide DLC especially nowadays, because you can provide DLC for games that might be a little older.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, buy the season pass, and then that's all the DLC and that's it.
That's pretty sad.
You need to buy the season.
That's pretty sad, yeah.
I'm sure it would be nice if 3 years from now, if they don't have a Borderlands 3,
you're still getting something new.
Still something to play.
Yeah. Well, again, we harp on it every single week, it seems, but, adopt the computer model, people. You know what I mean? Look at Team Fortress 2. How old is Team Fortress 2 on Steam now? Every single week. Every single week it comes out with new stuff. It might not be something big, but, if you still like that game, the fact that you can earn a new achievement, a new costume, some new guns, a new ability, every week they do it. Mm-hmm. And that game is 4 years, 5 years. It's old.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So come on, people.
Come on, people.
Come on, people. That's our mission for this week, to just tell everyone, come on.
So, and then I think the last... Wrap it up. All right, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, we're. I'm sick of listening to you. So we will wrap it up for this week. But thanks so much for listening to us, folks, and for liking us and commenting. Greg, we are going to go into a Brave New World soon. Yes.
Yes.
What is this Brave New World going to entail?
Stuff.
We've got stuff. Stuff in the works.
I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to have a Let's Play coming up this week, but. As you can tell by our Twitter account, if you follow us on Twitter at Monday MOOcast, because you should.
Ooh. You should, yeah.
Gamefly did not get us our game in time.
No.
So we're going to have to wait until next week. We bought it, so hopefully GameStop will have it to us by next Sunday, and then we can have a surprise for you.
All right, so it's surprises and fun in the works for Monday MOOcast, folks. Thanks so much for listening. This is Mike and
Greg
and
Andrea,
and we're signing off. This is the Moo.